Hello, everybody. Welcome to another AOP Tech Talk, where we talk about tech. Today, I got Jeremiah with us.
Hey, everyone.
And you hit me hard right out the gate with that big question. What was it?
What is cloud computing and how does it affect people's lives, Brandon? It's a pretty big topic.
That is a huge question. This is going to be a 12-hour podcast. So the first part of that question, what is cloud computing? I would simplify that from a sticker that I see floating around that says there's no such thing as cloud. It's just someone else's servers.
Yeah.
And in its simplest form, it's literally if you took your server out of your office, plugged it in to your neighbor's house, and you remotely access to it. That's the cloud.
Right.
We just do it on a massive scale with 10,000 mile an hour internet and hundreds of servers.
So something that might worry people is when it's someone else's servers, you have to worry about data security.
Right. So a benefit, and I'm going to use us for an example because we're a host, is at your office, the average person has, I'll just say, a sub $500 router or firewall protecting their network.
Right. Some Netgear.
Versus our firewalls, and I say firewalls because there's multiple ones, are built for enterprises and thousands and tens of thousands of people. So your security is no longer an apples to apples comparison. You're comparing a Ferrari to a go-kart.
Right.
It's, ours is built and monitored, and we graphically see all of the what countries are accessing data, and it's a ongoing thing. So going to the right hosting provider, your security is going to do nothing but increase.
Are you trying to say my unmanaged Netgear switch isn't very good?
Yep. But a lot of people do that. They'll go down to the big box store and get them a router and plug internet into the labeled port, and they're good to go.
Right, it just works, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have internet, you can get traffic on everything, and you're right out the box. You're just set.
Yep,
everything's
good to go.
You don't need any security policies. You're just in place.
Yep. Versus, like in our hosted, you create a server, and nothing talks to it. It's just isolated all, and then you allow, okay, I want this person to talk to it, this person to talk to it. So it's walled off, and then it's just little pinholes where you need them.
Yeah. And I've noticed that about our networks. You brought up port security and things like that, to where, we can just usually walk into a business, plug in a laptop, and it might not be the safest thing in the world, but it sure is easy.
Yep, sure is. We did that. We had a customer. We needed to get on the network.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't want to use my hotspot on my phone, so it was just like, I'm just going to plug in my laptop here. And I was like, maybe it won't work. Oh, no, it does.
Yep. 99% chance it does. So and how does it affect people? The second part to that one. Capabilities is what I would categorize that on how it affects people. Mm-hmm. Because I know it's a broad word, because there's so many benefits. It's customers who host their servers with us, they no longer have to use the internet connections in their office. They benefit from our internet connections, which is, again, a 10 gig connection built for, internet providers versus your 100 meg at your office. So internet's faster, it's more reliable. I have multiple internets. We have multiple power supplies.
Right.
Multiple power feeds.
And there's a lot of redundancy in place too.
Tons.
So you never have to worry about your data going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you keep it on your local server, you have to worry a lot about backups and things like that, and making sure your backups are good.
Yeah. Testing the backups. Yeah. That's another huge benefit. So in ACS, our hosting platform, you can create snapshots of servers, just like an image, a picture of a server. And if you want to test your backups, you can go to those snapshots and you literally click launch, and it'll create a mirror replica of your server. Same password, same everything.
Mm-hmm. And these are all tested?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yep.
Because I know you might have backups, so some people just don't test them at all until it's too late, right?
A ton of people don't.
That's when you start testing your backups, is when you're in crisis mode.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, it was some statistic I was reading that 70% of good backups fail because of something 6 months ago, little glitch happened, and you've just been backing up corrupted data this whole time.
100% true.
And then another one, and I was just reading, it was on a blog post on our website. So say you start off and you're a 10-man office. Well, you build out a proper domain and everything's good to go. And then you add, 3-4 years down the road, you have 25 people. Well, you're taxing that hardware, your physical server. Whereas if you were in a virtual world, you can literally just pick a bigger size server and click go. And then in 1 to 2 minutes, the server reboots itself and it's automatically 4 times as large.
Right. I've noticed that with some customers that they've outgrown their server actually. And there's really not too much you can do for it. It's pretty much maxed out. You can't add any more hard drive space to it or anything like that.
Yep.
So you're saying with cloud capabilities, we could just expand it.
You can add more processors. You can add more memory, more storage.
It's actually really cool.
More network connections.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your small business, if it grew into a larger business, you'd be able to scale with that.
Correct.
Nice.
Instead of taking a backup, adding a bunch of physical components to a hard drive, hoping it works and crossing your fingers and then starting it up.
Right. Wouldn't there be a certain price point connected to that too? Like the hardware we'd have to buy and stuff like that if we wanted to scale up physically, like for our little small business, add more servers to it. I mean,
what's the average server? $5,000-$6,000? Operating system, setup cost, and the physical?
Oh, that's true. I don't even think about operating system cost and things associated with that. You got your terabyte hard drives and stuff you're going to put in it, especially if you're going to try using solid states and things like that. It starts to get really pricey and add up.
What's a Microsoft server? $700-$800 just for the operating system?
Yeah, just for the OS. It starts to get ridiculous.
Yep. So there's another benefit. How does it benefit people? Cost. It's a lot cheaper.
And honestly, when you break it down like that, like cooling costs, you don't really have to worry too much about your server room anymore.
Yeah, because you just have switches. We have customers who just have firewalls and switches in their closets now.
Yeah,
no servers at all.
I start to wonder if people are just comfortable by the box being in the server room.
Yeah.
Like if they just get worried like that they don't have access to their physical box because you don't need to touch it anyway.
No, I mean if you think about, and we'll pick on Apple for a little while. If so many people back up their iPhones to iCloud, well, you can't touch that backup. You don't know where it is, but it's in the cloud.
Right.
And all it is your files stored on Apple servers.
That's 100% true. Like all the app data on your phone really is all cloud based. Anything you can access over your phone, it's stored on someone else's servers. You don't actually have access to it.
Yep.
I think even the notes on my phone aren't really backed up on my phone. They're just, I just access them through the web.
Yep. Everything's going that way because there's so much benefit to it.
Yeah. It frees up so much hard drive space too on a personal user's computer too. Like you don't need massive hard drives anymore to store all your data.
Yep. People like us need massive hard drives.
Oh yeah. Because
but it's a lot of overhead. It's a lot of cost. It's maintenance. You got to put hardware on renewal cycles.
Yeah.
A virtual server, you just turn it on and it'll never turn off.
Right.
Just run it forever and ever.
I think one of my favorite things that we do here is folder redirection and how we push things to the cloud here.
Oh, yeah.
And how it just frees up, even if you have ancient hard drives on your computer, it just frees up like the 30, 60 gigs you have on your hard drive so you can actually do stuff.
Yep.
Really.
What was it? It was a long time ago. We're going to get picked on for this because this is before our time in IT, but it was terminals connected to a mainframe, and the mainframe did everything, and then we started putting data on the computers to let it do its own compute.
Yeah.
And now we're going right back to the way it used to be.
Because it just makes so much more sense. Like a user's C drive, if it crashes and it has no cloud backup, I mean, that's just all that data lost.
Yep.
I mean, who's backing up local user drives every single day? It's literally no one.
That's so inefficient.
No.
It's if you store in the business world, heck, even in a personal world, but if you store data on your workstation or your PC, that's just inefficient.
Yeah, and you're just not afraid to lose it, or you've never lost a laptop before.
Yeah, hard drives die.
Yeah, they do. They don't live forever.
No.
They got so many rotations in them, and then they're gone.
Yep. And they don't warn you. That's what makes me mad. It's just like one day you wake up and it's like, nah, it quit.
Yeah, it quit spinning up. And you're like, how do I recover all the data off this? And you try to send it to a person, and usually, it's kind of a goner.
Yep. Yeah, with folder redirection, you can just swap the hard drive, the user logs in, and all their data is still good to go.
That absolutely blew my mind the first time I saw it too. It's like, you can log into any computer and look, sure enough, there's all your data, all your documents you work so hard on, all your pictures and things like that. They just come back to you.
It's good to go.
Yeah.
It just makes sense.
It is. And I really do feel like it's the future. There's no reason to save stuff locally anymore. Especially when you're sharing stuff out using apps like Dropbox and things like that these days. Like even the Microsoft Suite, you know, is cloud-based these days.
Yep. Yeah, when you're typing your Word document, that's getting synced to the servers.
I know. It's absolutely amazing.
Yep. There's tons of benefits. Another example, we were just talking about this one. So we were building a test website, just testing some things. And during testing, now this is a fault of our own, it was wide open. So we could all remote into it and work on the server to test these things. Well, it ended up getting corrupted and some things went wrong with it. And instead of trying to restore the server, we just right-clicked on it and deleted that hosted server and went just to that snapshot we had took hours before there and click launch, and our server's back up and going like nothing ever happened.
Yeah, that's really amazing that you can just tear it down and just rebuild it whenever you need it.
Yep. Once that happened, and I'm going to say in a production environment, now we were tested, but it was for work, it completely removed the fear of failure.
Yeah.
And that was cool.
And I think once you demonstrate that to a company, like it just becomes invaluable. Like especially if you're hip with like crypto or something like that, and you lose all your data on your server. In the past, you would have had to rely on physical backups, which is kind of scary.
Yeah.
But now it's like, you know, it's kind of containerized, and you can just delete that instance and rebuild it from a snapshot, and really it is something else.
So what Curtis cleaned up that network, he's got 15 hours cleaning up a crypto, because it got those computers so bad that the system restore files was done. So it's like literally brand new installs.
Yeah.
And the data was on each individual computer, and I think he had 15 hours. Now this is a small network. I think they might have maybe 15 people on the network. If that was in a hosted environment and folder redirection, like it's set up the way we do them, then just delete and start it up, no problem.
Yeah.
And then go find the corrupted files that got in there, because this code had like an 11-day sleeper in it. So just go find that code, because you know the problem now. Delete it out and you're good to go.
Yeah. Just the security involved with that. Like you can't, honestly, you wouldn't have had that just a couple of years ago.
Oh, no. But you just turned a 15-hour project into a 30-minute project maybe?
Yeah. So I want to ask you about something, and that's, I guess it's related to reliability. How's system uptime, you know? Like, okay, so we're putting all of our data through the network. Well, what happens if the network goes down? Does it go down?
Knock on wood, we're running 100% right now.
Yeah.
Over multi-year 100%. Now, I guess because everybody needs the paper, we do 99.99%.
Yeah, you got the 4 nines, right? Yeah.
But it's because apparently you can't say anything's 100%.
No, even Hulu went down not too long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a couple of days ago it went down for a little while. But
That's
I
scary.
mean, it doesn't really, you know, knock on wood, happen that much to big companies or even here. I mean, you just have reliability. You test it. You know, you have failovers. You have safeguards in place that prevent things like that.
Yep. Yeah, instead of like in a business, they have one firewall, one switch, one server. We have multiple firewalls, multiple switches, multiple servers, all to do one job.
Right. We're not going to let customers go down. It's just not going to happen.
It's cool when we do upgrades to our server. So we might go add more resources and things to ours. And it's neat so we got a ton of servers, and we can put one of them in maintenance mode. It comes offline. We can pull it out, add more memory, whatever we need to, and then plug it back in. The system sees it back on and puts it back online, and then it's back into production.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. And you said, oh, yeah, we have the ability to just evacuate a node at any time and just offload users. Users don't even notice. It doesn't skip a beat for them.
And then even going into security, we don't know what customers are running on those servers.
Oh, really?
So unless we have their passwords and their connections, we can't even get to the data.
Nice.
That
really is something. Yeah. It's just data in there, huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
What else we got?
So I got lost.
Lost in the cloud.
There was just too much going on.
Yep.
I mean, honestly, at first I wasn't really sold on the idea of cloud-based. I mean, I like having all my data locally. You know, I have everything I need. But I think it takes losing your data once to just understand how things kind of unfold.
Mm-hmm. And that's sad but true.
Yeah. And then you get put into this crisis mode of like, how do I recover things? And sadly, more often than not, you're not going to be able to.
Yeah. Now it's definitely backup and having redundancies. That's a given in the cloud hosted environment. But if people look at the capabilities as far as being able to do more as a company, for example, we had a mortgage company. Well, they don't want to be confined to an office space. Right. They wanted to go work wherever they wanted to. They just wanted to be free from an office and go get business wherever they wanted to. So they utilized ACS, and we built all of their softwares and servers and everything and hosted their entire network in our cloud infrastructure. And then through an encrypted connection, we connect their laptops and desktops back to their cloud environment. And so they could be at home, a coffee shop, they can be in Florida or New York, no matter what, and they can operate just like they're sitting right next to the server.
Yeah, and that's honestly something until I started working here, I didn't quite understand. And now, honestly, I couldn't live without my laptop because I can connect to my documents literally anywhere. I was sitting in my car just the other day, just troubleshooting problems because I can pull out my hotspot. I can have, my HubSpot tickets and things like that, all my customer numbers in front of me. And it's easy working on my laptop. I can connect to their servers from my laptop. There's no need to be in an office environment 100% of the time anymore. And I feel like that's what cloud computing really offers us.
Yep. And that's like our team. We got remote people.
Yeah.
We got remote people who never been in this office.
I know that to me, that is just, that blows my mind that you can have that, and we work closely with them too. We keep in touch through Slack and things like that, through other communication means. And it's just really, I've never worked in an environment that had remote workers like that.
Mm-hmm. That could do as much, if not more, than we can.
Right. I really feel like it's the modern workplace, as long as they can communicate and touch the things that they need to touch, even digitally, they can do the things that they need to do.
Mm-hmm. And that goes back capabilities wise to us. We even have our accounts in ACS or our cloud environment just to test things.
Right.
So if we want to test a new security patch or whatever it is, well, we're not going to go spend $30,000 for brand new servers so we can go destroy them.
Yeah.
We're just going to right click and go create 10 new servers and put all of our stuff on it, see what happens, test it, make sure it's all good to go.
It's a good way to test those new Windows patches that roll out,
Oh, yeah, right? But then once we're finished with it, we just delete the network and it's good to go.
Yeah. It's like it never happened. It really is. It's outstanding.
Yep. Yeah, so for like R&D or like machine shops or something, they want to test new softwares or just spin one up for a day and that's it.
Yeah. Are we able to containerize like applications and things like that? Like through, oh, really?
Yeah.
So we could just host application servers. You don't even need a physical application server in your business anymore. Wow.
Yeah, we got multiple people doing that.
Yeah.
That's
so you just point the desktop icon you have there and you just point it toward your cloud-based server, right?
Yep.
And it just connects that way.
We had one, it's some software that they claimed it can't be hosted. So they don't have a hosted environment.
Right.
So the customer called us and they said, hey, I want to work remotely. I need to work from home, but I need this software. So we did exactly that. We took their software and started on some servers in their hosted environment, and we gave them a little icon. When they double-click that icon, it's an encrypted connection back to their servers, runs it, and it appears to them like they're in the software.
Yeah. It just looks like a regular desktop to them. And remote connections are really, it is some cool stuff.
Mm-hmm. And they're actually, if you think about it, going back to what we were just talking about earlier, how we can walk into most people's offices and just plug into the wall.
Yeah.
Well, if you working remotely, you have a one-to-one encrypted connection to that environment. So only that laptop can talk to that server over that connection. Mm-hmm. So if you think about it, it's actually more secure you working remotely from that server than it is physically.
Yeah.
Because nobody's going to plug into the wall and get to that connection.
So I have a question about cloud computing. Does it appear like as a regular just physical piece of hardware when you click on it, when you have applications stored and things like that?
The server?
Yeah. Does it? Oh, really?
Absolutely. Like it goes back to our hosted desktops.
Yeah.
So we have it's another mortgage company. separate mortgage company. They're tired of buying $700-800 computers and then having to keep that refresh cycle up. So we put a bunch of thin clients out, connected them back to their hosted environment where they have a bunch of hosted desktops. And when a user sits down and double clicks, all they see is an image, but there's no hardware behind it. It's all being hosted.
And that they have no problems with that. It's
Zero.
Just, really?
And then what's neat, so they have 100 meg, I think it's 100 meg, whatever it is. They have a normal business internet, right? Mm-hmm. Well, once they, I guess you could say, connect into their hosted environment, they're using multiple gigabit internet.
Yeah.
So now you can get more out of your local internet because you don't have all of these desktops utilizing that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually pretty cool.
Capabilities.
I know, like traffic shaping and things like that. That it really is. I mean, it's very cool. Yep. And there's no latency or anything like that in regards to. I guess, are you limited by your own network connection?
You are.
Oh, okay.
And I would say, I mean, all networks have latency, but it's not. There's no huge difference. It's not like 10 seconds slower just because it's hosted.
Right. And hosted desktops experience like nothing like that. Like. It's still just pretty much one-to-one. Like you just have a regular desktop, right?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the cool part about it, say you have some power users and you need them to have more resources because they're running some AutoCAD or something special.
Yeah, something that hogs resources.
Wait, don't go buy a $1,500 desktop. Just go to your hosted environment, say, I want to make this PC bigger, and click go. And in 1 to 2 minutes, they got...
That's honestly an option. I had no idea. Because I know AutoCAD is a huge resource hog. Mm-hmm. Like, you do need, like, specific requirements on your PC to be able to run that. And you can just do that. Like, you're emulating it, or is it just running?
Yeah, I mean, it runs just like normal.
Yeah.
Just like on hardware.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. It's just all in SD, so it's all just software-defined networking.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess that's the wrong terminology. Some tech people, if they hear that, they're going to be like,
you can't say that.
Infrastructure as a service. It's all just...
it's like software as a service. I think that's SaaS.
Yeah. But it's just software that just builds all this stuff.
Yeah. It's really, honestly, it's the future.
Yep, it is.
Because really a few years ago, like, I remember having the most unreliable network connection. But I mean, most people these days have high-speed internet connections to their business and things like that. There's no reason to not switch to cloud computing.
Right. Yeah, there's really, in today's age, there's not.
Yeah.
There's only, as far as we know, I mean, I haven't came across any negative impacts.
Yeah. I mean, I've never, experienced any downtime whatsoever, or I've never not been able to log into my computer. And I know we use folder redirection and things like that here. It really is something. 'Cause man, growing up, like late 90s, early 2000s, like I had the worst internet connection.
You're gonna catch so much slack about that.
I know. It's just like the worst internet connection though. Yeah. Like I had that like terrible dial-up. My internet would just randomly disconnect. Mm-hmm. Used to have to instant message, and your instant messenger would lag out.
Like a fax machine. What is this noise? Cool. What else we got? Anything?
Let's see. I think we already discussed hardware implementation and upgrades. Mm-hmm. Just super simple to do these days.
It is.
It's just really amazing.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for listening. Y'all tune in next week. We'll find something fun to talk about. Let y'all learn a little bit more. If y'all have any questions, let us know. And until next time, we'll see you.
Bye.